All right, today we're going to look at another optimization tool in our Hammer editor, and this one deals with visleafs and the compiling process. So what a visleaf is when the map is compiling, there's a part of your compile log that shows how long viz took. So if you ever have looked at your compile log, this thing here that pops up, if you scroll down, you're going to find a section here where it says vviz.exe, and it does these little numbers with dots. And then at the end of that, it's going to give you a time for how long vviz took. So what viz is the process of creating visleafs in the game. And a visleaf, if you could just imagine, it's the game can't render the entire map all the time. So what it does is it divides the map up into things called visleafs. And then it calculates, if I'm standing in this visleaf right here, which other visleafs on this map can I see? And that is what determines which parts of the game that the engine's going to render. And so when you have big outdoor areas on your map, what happens is you've got lots and lots of visleafs that can see each other, and the calculation of these hundreds or thousands of visleafs takes hours and hours. And it might even seem like your computer has frozen because it takes so long. So what we can do on these maps with open areas is we can create these boxes. And these boxes are just regular brushes. They're nothing crazy about them. You just take your block tool, your regular block tool, you select your trigger texture, and then you're going to make a box covered with trigger, like I've done here, these big boxes. And what we're going to do is we're going to create these sections, what we call VisClusters. And what we're telling the game with these VisClusters is that, hey, any visleaf in this area can see each other because it's a big open area. So we're going to save the compiler some time by telling it that, anywhere in this area right here, when you chop it up and make your visleafs, these are all visible to each other. And then you'll notice I've got other VisClusters. I've got one here, one over here. So I'm pretty much telling it, hey, this cluster and this cluster, they can all see each other all the time. This cluster can see each other. This cluster can see each other. So instead of chopping this up into little pieces and saying, from here, can I see visleaf 1, 2, 3, and I'm just making up the numbers. But it's going to go around and be like visleaf 1, visleaf 2, visleaf 3, visleaf 4, visleaf 5. Okay, now what if I go to 2? Okay, can I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Okay, well, what if I go to this one? 1, 2, 3, 4. And it just keeps repeating that over and over as it calculates visleafs. So what we're doing by creating these VisClusters is we're just making a shortcut, and we're saying, okay, if you're standing here, you can see all of this. So don't even worry about calculating it, just make them all visible. Now you'll notice I've carved out a section here because the house here, you'll have to excuse my lack of textures because I'm missing some here. The visleafs in here get calculated because this is a more complex structure. It's, got lots of stairs and hallways and rooms and stuff. So we don't want to do the VisClusters inside the house. So you'll notice my VisClusters come up around the house, but they don't overlap the house. So in your outdoor areas, when you've got these spaces, what we want to do is put our VisClusters around your structures. So I only have one building in this map, but if you had, another building over here, you're going to build your VisClusters around the buildings, not into them. We don't want to cut through the buildings with these VisClusters because these do require the engine to make some decisions because we've got, a bunch of little rooms and hallways and things like that. So for these ones, we're going to leave this alone. But on the outside, in these big open spaces, we're going to go ahead and use these. Now, the way you create them is you're going to make a box. Okay, so I make this big box. I'm going to right click on it, tie to entity. I'm going to select Func VisCluster, click apply, and that's it. There's nothing else to do to it. There's no naming, no flags, nothing. And all they're doing is telling the compiler that, hey, when you calculate this area, this can all see each other, so don't even worry about calculating all the different viz leafs in here. They can all see each other. And then these ones, they can all see each other. And so what'll happen is by it sharing the information between these clusters, this one will know that it can see all of these ones, and this one will know that it can see all of these ones, and it'll cut your compile time down significantly. Now, I can tell you this little map, this is not a very big map. This compile time took 2 minutes for Viz. Without the Viz clusters, it was going on 10 minutes before I just quit it. So by the time you guys get here, I'll let it run all the way through. All right, so if you have a big open outdoor map, you're going to need to put in these Viz clusters. If you've got even a medium-sized map, like this isn't a very large map, you can, I mean, there's a truck right there. You can kind of get an idea of the scale of this thing from here. This is not a very big map, but it takes forever to compile it. So the Viz clusters help a lot with that. So if you've got outdoor areas or any large open areas that are indoors, you're still going to want to use these. But just remember, the Viz clusters do not cut through walls or anything like that. They go around buildings and walls. So you put them close to, but not going through walls and structures on your map. All right? Excellent. Check teams for the assignment.